Hi everyone, this is Jiggie, a portrait and wedding photographer from the Philippines, and welcome to the channel. So in this video, I will show you how this particular camera, the brand new Sony Alpha1, and one specific feature in it changed the way I approach my outdoor flash photography work. So before anything else, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, now is the perfect time to do so, because again, I am giving away a beautiful collapsible backdrop from Kate Backdrop. This backdrop is a 1.5 by 2 meter non-reflective dual-sided backdrop. And again, the best thing about this giveaway is I will make the winner choose what specific design they want. So before we talk about the feature of this Sony Alpha1 that I am so excited about, let's first talk about the flash units that I will be using for today's shoot. I have two F60RMs. These are two Sony F60RMs connected to the MagMod mag ring and the mag box. This mag box is a 24-inch octabank, and I have the focus diffuser installed on it. Now, I actually have two flash units installed here, but to be honest, I might just be needing one. So we will try later using one only, or if not, we will use both. But normally, I like using two because I don't want my flash to be at full power all the time. So my flash units, my Sony F60RMs, will be triggered off camera using this one. This is a Sony WRC1M. This is the remote commander that when installed on top of the Sony camera, you will now be able to control these flash units within the flash menu system built right into this camera, which makes everything very, very simple. So the camera that I am using, as I mentioned earlier, is a Sony Alpha1, and the lens is a 24mm 1.4 GM. I'll explain later about the choice of lenses, but we are actually here in Casa Laia in Batangas City in the Philippines. It's a beautiful, beautiful place, and the concept for this shoot is I want to be able to feature this chapel that we had built here, and of course my wife Coco as our model. Walk towards camera coming from the chapel so that I can also properly demonstrate how to do a walking shot. So what is it that makes me so excited about the Sony Alpha1 when it comes to off-camera flash photography, especially at a day like this? You could see that I'm actually sweating because it's terribly, terribly hot. And if you want to see my settings, right now my settings without an ND filter is 1/400 f14. And you're gonna say 1/400 with flash? Yes, that is the thing that I am so excited about with this particular camera, because this camera now has a flash sync speed instead of 1/250, but 1/400, which basically gives me an additional stop of power from my flash. In other words, these flash units basically just affect your aperture. My ambient light is mostly controlled by my shutter speed. So if you want to know more about this, I actually made a very detailed video already, and I will just put the link in the description below. So I am now at 1/400 f14, but I actually want to shoot this scene wide open, or as close to wide open as I can get without having to go through high-speed sync. Because the issue is, if I go through high-speed sync, let's say for example now, I will put my camera on aperture priority and I want it on 1.4. As you can see, at ISO 100, we are way beyond the capabilities of the camera to underexpose the scene. The exact exposure of the scene that I am in now is 1/8000 f1.4. Definitely, this flash unit will not be able to handle that type of intensity of light and still get the image that I want. So we will be using an ND filter. So with the ND filter, I'm able to cut the light. This is an ND32 from Hoya. We were able to cut the light by 5 stops, and I will shoot this one in shutter speed priority. Why do I shoot it in shutter speed priority? So that I can control the shutter speed to stay within the flash sync speed. And therefore, we are now getting an aperture of f2.5 at 2 stops underexposed. Now, I said earlier that the lens that I was using was the 24mm 1.4 GM specifically for this purpose, because I envisioned this scene actually to shoot it with a 35mm 1.4 GM, but I can have that option here actually in my Sony by just doing a crop. So if I put it on APS-C mode, in other words, it's cropping the image down from 50 to 21 megapixel, but 21 megapixel is still a lot. By doing that, I am effectively shooting at 35 millimeter 1.4 with another very, very big advantage. That advantage is now my flash sync speed is 1/500. The Sony Alpha1 can actually shoot with a flash sync speed of 1/500 if I am shooting on APS-C mode. So at 1/500, my f-stop now went to about f2. So right now we're gonna get better separation from the background, okay? So now my flash, I will put somewhere here, because the concept of the shoot will be my wife will be walking in this path towards the camera. So what are my flash settings? So as I said earlier, I can actually control my flash using the WRC1M, and when it's connected to my Sony camera, it enables a feature that I can actually assign a custom function button that goes directly to the menu system to control my flash. So I set it here at C3. So when I press C3, it shows that my high-speed sync is off, and I turned off one which was set on Group B, and the other one is set on Group A on full power. And finally, my white balance is set right now to auto. I will probably just put it maybe to daylight and then maybe adjust it later afterwards in post, depending on the feel that I want for the image, because I am shooting anyway in RAW. So it's going to be very, very easy for me to be able to change that white balance. So now it's time for me to call in my wife. Babe, you look lovely as usual.
Thank you.
And again, would like to thank our friend Micah Limchok for providing Coco's outfit today. And of course, Carmela Jimenez for virtually assisting Coco in putting on her makeup for today's shoot. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna ask Coco to walk towards me so that we get a sense of movement in the image. You mind taking one more step forward? Okay. The way to do walking shots properly is really for you to just take a fake step. In other words, when you tell the subject to go walk, babe, can you sample it? 1, 2, 3, there we go. That's it. She holds the pose. She doesn't really need to walk towards me so that she's not tired, number one. And number two, we can always get a consistent image all the time. So let's take one shot now that I will turn off the flash. And this is basically how the image looks like. You've got a lot of shadow underneath her coming from the sun here. So we're basically supplementing whatever sun we can get here and just opening up the shadows a bit more. And can I just say, the shutter of this Sony Alpha1 is amazing. I'll take one more shot. I'll go in close so you guys can hear it. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful shutter sound and very, very little vibration. Okay, so now I'm going to turn on my flash. All right. Babe, can we do one shot? 1, 2, 3, go. Very nice. Look at that. I love it, but I think the light is a little bit too far. Maybe we could bring it a bit closer and lower just to open up the shadows in her face. Now, we might be getting a bit of shadows here underneath in the frame, which we are. So now that we know that, I will just move it further back to remove that shadow and probably turn on the other flash too. Okay? We know that the power is enough. That shadow there on the left side we can easily remove in post. But now I will turn on the other flash just to give us a bit more power and underexpose the scene a bit more. There may be about 2 1/3 stop. I'll just take one test shot first, babe, for light. There we go. Beautiful. I think I like that. All right, so we'll just bring it in slightly closer. All right. Same pose. On the count. 1, 2. Very nice. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful shot. I love it a lot. Actually, can you take one more step forward? And that's your starting point. All right, on the count. 1, 2. Very nice. Oh, nice. Give a bit of separation on your arms. Just tweaking the light a little bit. I'm loving it a lot already. On the count. 1, 2. Very nice. Oh, I love that last thing that you did there. You know what? I'm gonna try doing something. Maybe I will follow the natural direction of the sun bring this one up a bit. Those things we can remove easily in post. All right, 1, 2, 3, go. Beautiful. Chin up maybe. All right. 1, 2, 3, go. See, by doing this 1, 2, 3 movement, it's very easy for her to repeat the pose and for her never to lose her place in terms of the framing. All right, and 1, final. 1, 2, 3, go. And that's why I love this camera so much. It basically changed the way I approach my outdoor flash photography work. Even in this heat that I am in now, I am still able to control my ambient light because of that option to go up to 1/400 flash sync speed and 1/500 for APS-C. And even if I am shooting in APS-C the way I was shooting earlier, because of my 50 megapixel sensor, I still had 21 megapixel left. And that was more than enough for the types of portrait that I would be shooting. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, now is the perfect time to do so you still get a chance to win that Kate backdrop giveaway that we are giving away this month. And all the mechanics you can find in the description below. Okay, so till the next video.